What's going on right now is a painful situation. And this is something that needs to be said because this is starting to hurt millions and millions of households. Now, over the past few years, I have come on YouTube and I've talked about the news and I've given people advice. I've warned others on things that were coming up, and we got through the past few years together. But these next 6 months are going to be different. Now, here's what's still going to be the same. I'm still going to be here, and I will still keep you updated on all the latest news. But something major is happening, and this is going to be painful. Now, I'm going to get to that in just a second. But first, all I ask is if you can go ahead, hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's get right down to what is really going on. Now, today I'm going to talk about, I want to talk to you really, and I'm not going to talk about the banking fiasco, that's going on, because it truly is a complete fiasco. It's chaos. First Republic Bank almost collapsed the other day. And if it weren't for the 11 big banks that contributed about $30 billion, it would have. But the truth is, that is a Band-Aid. It's not an actual fix. And that is what is happening right now. All across the United States, all across the economy, everything is getting a Band-Aid. That's it. Think about it. Think about the bank that was just bailed out. Okay? First Republic Bank. What happened was all these customers, all the clients went to First Republic Bank, right? And they started pulling money out, right? There's a little bit of bank run. Well, then, so all the money came out, started going into the bigger banks. Well, then the big banks decide, you know what, we're going to take that money, we're going to put it back into the bank, right? To bail them out. Isn't that essentially just what happened? The money was in the bank, then clients pulled it out, and now the big banks put it back in? How does this make sense? Right? It's just a Band-Aid. But think about the jobs here in the United States. People are getting their hours cut in order to make the company seem more profitable. Other companies are doing partial layoffs and they're reducing wages. Again, in order to make the company seem more profitable. But this is just a temporary fix. Economists believe that the only way out of this mess is to pull off the bandages and let us feel the pain. And again, it won't be pretty. It's going to be extremely tough. Now, we are going to see the housing market come crashing down. I know a handful of builders, and both of the builders that I've talked to over the past couple of weeks, they have said that the amount of cancellations that they have received, the amount of people just walking away from down payments that they have placed on land, on buildings, it's staggering. We're also going to see the stock market sell off. I've had a handful of people send me emails and comment on videos saying that they pulled out of the market. They're done. They've lost enough money. They pulled out of the market. Now, I'm not going to give you financial advice here, but here's one thing that I am doing. My money has been in very safe places over the past 6 months to a year. And the only reason why it has been, I continue to move it. Every day I'm making adjustments. And again, I can do that because that was kind of my job. That's what I do. I trade. Now, I don't want to give you financial advice, but here's the thing. If you are just going to dump your money into the stock market right now, according to financial experts, you could actually lose about 20 to 30%. And that's over the short term. Over the long term, it's going to go up. Things are going to be great, but you might have to wait 10 to 15 years. We don't know. We are also going to see banks close. Businesses are going to go under. People are going to lose their homes, their cars, and many are going to have to turn to bankruptcy. This is the issue. A bankruptcy is not free. You have to pay for that. It is going to get expensive. So some people will not even be able to afford to file bankruptcy. Now, according to experts, they say this is the cycle that is next. And again, it will be painful, but we must go through it in order to move forward. But here is what we know moving forward. First off, banks are hurting. I think we pretty much kind of understand what's going on there. But it's because of the amount of risk that banks have been taking on that they are now doing something that is a little bit different. Instead of giving people more credit and opening up their credit lines, they're actually trying to minimize risk. As a result, what we are seeing lately is people's credit lines are being shrunk. If you don't believe me, listen to these 2 emails that I received just over the past couple of days. Carlos from Nevada, he says this, and I quote, "Bro, I've been following you since the beginning, and you got me into reselling on Amazon. I had the worst possible scenario happen to me today. I am unable to run my business. I'm able to run my business by purchasing all my inventory on credit. And today my credit card spending limit went from $50,000 down to just $7,500. I spend all $50,000 each month or very close to it, as my ROI is just 14%. At $50,000, I'm able to make about $7,000 a month, which covers all my expenses and then some. Now, I will only be able to make $1,000 a month. What should I do?" Now, for those of you that don't know, one of the first businesses I started, and one of the ways I started this YouTube channel, was I started talking about reselling, and specifically on eBay, Craigslist, Facebook, and Amazon. Well, this person probably, and I can't remember if he took one of my courses on selling on Amazon, but one of the things that we do is we would buy items, let's say for $10, and you could buy it at Walmart, you could buy it at, from private label product over on from China or wherever, right? But you buy these products and then you sell them for a markup. So if he's only making 14%, let's say he buys an item for $10, he'd make $1.40 off this item. So he would resell and he'd get $11.40 back. Now here's the problem. If he only has a credit line of $7,000, if his return on investment, which is ROI, if it's still only 14%, then he is going to struggle because he can only make about $1,000, right? It's pretty much set. So his only option would be to increase his return on investment, his ROI. That becomes very difficult because then you have to be very specific as to what items you purchase and at what cost. So again, it's a little bit of a struggle, but this is part of the worries that people have, is now, what's he going to do? How is he going to afford his house? And I assume he has a house. Again, I don't know, but let's say you have a house, you have a car, you have other credit card payments. Maybe you have a timeshare you got to pay for, whatever it is, right? You got to, who knows, some toys, a boat, right? An RV. How's he going to pay for these things? And this is why I'm saying that the banking situation is going to create chaos for the American people. Here's another email that I received from another community member. It says, and I quote, "Let me know how this is fair. I received a letter in the mail on Monday saying that my credit line with Bank of America has been reduced by $8,000. I went from $10,000 to $2,000. I used this card for emergencies, and over the past year, I seem to have at least one emergency that pops up every month. Is this because of the Silicon Valley Bank, or what is going on here? Any help would be greatly appreciated, as I'm not sure if I can reverse this." Now, let me just answer this question because, first off, I've seen a lot of people complaining about Bank of America. Okay, I actually do not have an account with Bank of America, and I don't think I've ever had one with Bank of America. Now, Bank of America has been, according to some people with inside knowledge, I guess, they've been saying Bank of America is taking people's money to pay off, other debts. And so they're pretty much taking your money to pay off this debt. They're taking somebody else's money to pay your debt, right? Rob Peter to pay Paul. Now, I don't know if that's really happening, but here's the thing. Every bank, every lender that I've seen lately is reducing their risk. And by reducing their risk, they're lowering available credit to you, right? Your credit lines. I've seen this with credit cards. Just the other day, I was talking to somebody that, her and her husband were previously, approved to buy a home. And then the lender came back and said, no, we actually would need this much money down to get you approved at your credit rate or your credit rating. For the amount of the home, all this stuff, we would need this much extra down. And so essentially, they couldn't afford it. So that's what it was, right? It was done. They couldn't afford the home. They didn't have the money. So it created another issue. But for this person here that says their credit line went from $10,000 down to $2,000, here's the other issue. And let me just kind of make this more of a general statement. If you use your credit card for an emergency, first off, that is good. Hopefully you have savings set aside, more of an emergency fund. But if you are using credit cards for that, and that's your only option, that's still a good idea, because at least you have a way to pay for an emergency. Here's the problem. Let's say this person needed a new transmission on their car. Let's say the new transmission, for the transmission and all the labor, it's going to cost them, and I don't know what a new transmission would cost. Let's say it costs them $5,000, right? And now it's like, okay, well, if I need a new transmission on my car, I'll be perfectly fine. I'll just put it on my credit card. Here's the issue. They had a $10,000 available balance before, or limit. Now it is $2,000. It came down by $8,000. Here's the problem. What if this emergency pops up now? What if you need to go and get a new pair of glasses? And maybe it's not you go from $10,000 to $200 or $10,000 to $2,000. Maybe you go from $1,000 to $200. Okay? And I bring this up because this is what I got from another person today. My balance or my available credit went from $1,000 to $200. Thanks, Walmart. So I guess they have a Walmart card, and on Walmart they used to be able to spend $1,000. Now they can only spend $200. That's their limit. Guess what? Let me bring this a little and make it a little more general again. Instead of you buying a transmission for your car because it just went out, what if you just need to go and buy food, right? Your hours get reduced at work, right? You're not getting paid as much. Maybe your wages get cut. And then you got to use your Walmart card. You got to actually use a credit card to put food on the table. Guess what happens then? What if you go and you need some meat? You need bread, you need cereal, right? You need all this stuff, right? You need lunches for your kids. Your spouse needs something to take to work. How are you going to afford that if you don't have any money, because you're spending all your money on rent and your car payment and utilities, and then when it comes to putting food on the table, well, you got to go use credit. Before you had a $1,000 credit line. Now it's been reduced to $200. What are you going to do then? If you cannot use your card because it's now maxed out. I've been saying this for a while. This is going to be painful. This is not the great, awesome economy that we once had, 4 or 5 years ago. Pretty much 4 years ago. This isn't the booming economy we had when we kept getting stimulus checks or the enhanced unemployment benefits, right? PPP loans. This isn't that economy. This is a completely different economy. This is going to be painful. And again, I bring this up because too many people are saying that, oh, it's going to be fine. The federal government's going to come in. They're going to step up. They're going to help out the American people. No, the U.S. government is not going to do that. President Biden wants more money to go to Ukraine. Okay? What we're seeing right now is banks are going to be helped out. The American people are going to be screwed. Okay? So, I don't want to be Debbie Downer today, but honestly, this is kind of the new norm. Is things are going to be painful right now because, like economists and experts are saying, we have to pretty much go into the most painful part so we can get through it. And until we dip into the most painful part, we're never going to get through it. It's just going to be a Band-Aid. We got to rip off the Band-Aid, feel the pain, and then it will slowly go away. But that is what we know at this time. As always, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. Make sure you hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you guys on the next one.